Hello, my name is Lois Costa, and I am honored to be the superintendent of SAU90. This is my 23rd year here in the district, and I started back in 2000, coming from the classroom in Merrimack, New Hampshire as a third grade teacher and beginning my career as the assistant principal at Marsden School. During that time, I've had the pleasure to serve as the assistant principal for 9 years, the principal for 12 years, and I am currently in my second year as a superintendent. In 2002, I brought my 2 children here, and they have had the honor of going through our schools and graduating from Winnicott High School. Hampton is a great place to live, it's a great place to work, and it's a great place for children. And I want to talk a little bit about what has happened since that time. And I would have to say that in my time here in Hampton, I have seen our district rise to be one of the best in the state. In this fall, we know that U.S. News and Report has named Hampton Academy as the 11th school in the state, and Marsden School being the 15th elementary school in the state. This was based on performance on assessments and national and federal numbers that they've collected. So to get to that level is really quite an honor and speaks to the work that is done every day in our classrooms. And that's in large part due to our staff. I also have had the pleasure of seeing Central School being awarded the Blue Ribbon School. And again, that has to do with their work around data with our youngest learners, our pre-K to grade 2 students, under the leadership of Principal Lannon. Marsden has earned recognition as a School of Excellence, or an Eddie School, and it also has been named Principal of the Year, and as well as Nathan Sadler was named Assistant Principal of the Year. Marsden School has been a reward school as named by the Department of Ed, and also a National Title I school as named by the national organization that looks at Title I and how students perform in these federal programs. So that was a federal recognition that we received. Additionally, we have extensive teacher and staff recognition. Gus Carlson being named a Milken Award winner, as well as Michelle Croto, Elizabeth Henderson, Al Magnuson being nominees and candidates for Teacher of the Year and finalists. Most recently, Amy Hansen was named a champion for children as her work in our community and in our schools. Just this year, in fact, just this week, we were notified that Bonnie Heath, teacher at Hampton Academy, was nominated for Teacher of the Year. It is our greatest desire to continue to offer a high-quality education for all of our students. How we do this has a lot to do with our budget and our staffing, and in large part has a lot to do with you, our community. By supporting our schools, it allows us to become competitive with schools around us. By offering our teachers a fair and comparable wage in comparison to districts around us, we can not only attract but retain high-quality teachers. Given the teacher shortages, retirements, this is critical. Additionally, our budget allows us to recognize not just our non-union staff, but all of those custodians, food service workers, principals, and secretaries that have a huge part in what we do every day. I ask that you kindly consider voting on March 8th, and please make a decision that supports our schools so that we can continue to provide an outstanding education that rivals any in the United States. I'm going to pass it over now to my colleague, Mariah Curtis, our finance director, who's going to speak around Article number 1, which has to do with our operating budget. Mariah.
Hi, Hampton. I'm Mariah Curtis. I have been the Director of Finance for the past 2 years. Prior to that, I was the school accountant since SAU90 became and pulled away from 21. I have lived in the town of Hampton, grew up in the town of Hampton, and have the pleasure of trying to keep the community happy and the children have a welcoming schools to come and learn in. So I would like to talk about our 2022-23 school budget. 2021-22 that we're in now, that budget was $24,807,739. We are looking at a budget in 22-23 for $25,005,913. The difference of the two budgets is $198,174. That's a 0.8 increase from this year's budget to next year's.
So Mariah, that's less than 1% increase.
Less than 1%.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just thinking about that with regard to inflation, I think that it's important to recognize how, I would say, judicious we were in terms of putting this budget together.
Definitely. I think that if we, as in our own homes, look at what the past year has increased in our own personal homes, our electricity bills in the past month, gas prices, heat prices, propane prices, all of that has skyrocketed in the last few months. And we have 3 major schools that we have to look at and have electricity costs and heating costs, building maintenance. They go up too. It's not just your homes. So with that, 75% of our budget is salaries, FICA, retirement, and benefits. That's like any business. That's all our employees that have to run the buildings, teach our kids, feed our kids, maintain our kids, and our administrators, secretaries, custodians, food service. It's all of that. The other percent is operational expenses, and that is the electricity, the heat, transportation, books, technology. It's not that much when all's said and done. Our major budget changes this year was our electricity cost has skyrocketed, almost 50%. Our non-union staff salary has increased. We would like to give them an increase. Normally their average is 1.5%. We're just trying to make them comparable to other positions in the area.
Mariah, can I comment on that?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I know that we have a retiree in our facilities department. And as we open that position up, we are concerned that we will be competing with other positions in the area. And we know that if you just go up and down Route 1, there are advertisements of $17 to $20 an hour. And I know that our custodians, food service workers have struggled to come anywhere near that.
He has been here, I would say probably 25 years and is maybe just making that.
So that gives you an idea as to how we have been funding and paying for food service workers as well as custodians.
Mm-hmm.
They have been nowhere near the $15 to $20 an hour that you can get right now. And that's our challenge, is will we be able to fill these positions in light of the competition that's around us in this area?
Correct. We have had in our default budget a decrease in our teacher savings, and that's usually every year due to retirees and the hiring that we have for that year. We also have 2 non-replacement positions. So we haven't really had any major budget changes. We haven't increased majority of our lines. It's really things that are out of our control, like electricity. So the only thing that we are really asking for is an increase in our non-union staff for salaries. So the budget really is rather flat, other than things that are out of our control.
And can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about, did we cut any positions in this budget?
Well, we did not cut positions. We have 2 non-replacement positions that we were not going to fill.
Okay, so
So we're trying to be very thoughtful on the number of students that we're having, the way that the number of students are moving through the schools every year. We don't want to just take out positions ahead of time. We're trying to do it mindfully every year.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, the next article is Article 2 that addresses our professional staff or our C contract. Liz Dowst.
Hello, I'm Liz Dowst. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Marston. I've taught in Hampton for 26 years, I think, a long time. I love teaching in Hampton, and I have been very, very happy here, as have a number of my colleagues. I'm going to speak to warrant articles 2 and 3. These are the collective bargaining agreements for the professional staff and for our paraprofessionals. They're both 3-year agreements. We feel that they are fair and reasonable agreements. It's really important that we have your support. We've had the support of Hampton and the community for a number of years, and we've been able to do so much together with family support, with the community support. We need that more than ever right now. We have fallen behind other local towns and districts that are within a 5 to 10 mile radius of us. And when I say fallen behind, I mean that our salaries are far less than those schools nearby, and that is true for the professional staff and the paraprofessional staff. And with an upcoming teacher shortage, it's even more imperative that we can pass these contracts so that we can keep pace, so that we can keep the teachers here in Hampton, our wonderful teachers, and not lose them to nearby schools, which is something that is already happening now and has happened at this school year and will continue to happen if we cannot somehow work to bridge that gap between us and local schools. I think you ought to know that we're working hard. We're happy to work hard. We love the kids we work with. We love the families we work with. This is what we love to do. And I think when you hear about the history from Dr. Costa of all our accomplishments, which weren't just pieces of paper, they were based on actual lessons and actual activities done with the kids and actual growth, student growth. And we want to continue to be able to provide that type of education for your children. And I don't want to see my colleagues walk out the door. These are people I know and love and have so much respect and admiration for. So we're asking, please stand with us and vote for our school warrant articles in March, on March 8th. If you can, bring some friends to the polls. That would be really helpful. And we thank you for all your past support, and we hope we can count on you in a few weeks.
Thanks, Liz. I know you're also going to speak on Article number 3, which is our CESPA contract. These are our unsung heroes. These are our paraprofessionals that work one-on-one or in small groups with students. They are imperative to the work that we do every day. And again, just as Mariah, you alluded to, these wonderful staff members have been somewhat underpaid. They are now in a position where paras are choosing to take jobs elsewhere where they can make more money, have better benefits, and have just as flexible of a schedule, giving the worker shortage. And we need to, if we want to retain them and continue to have them supporting students and our classes and instruction, we need to recognize that they too deserve a fair and decent wage in order to keep them and to attract them.
And the work they do, to give you an example, sometimes when you're not in the same work environment, it's hard to picture what does this mean. I've worked with 4 different paraprofessionals over the past 2 years and many more before that. But to give you an example, when we were home and doing remote learning, one of my paraprofessionals was on consistently with children in the room, and they would make appointments to work with her, and the 2 of them would, or 2 or 3 of them would sit in small group and complete work together. They provide help by rereading directions, helping students access the curriculum by breaking down whatever the activity is into steps. They work with our most at-risk population, our kids that need a little extra support in order to catch up, in order to make learning more doable for them. And we I look at them from more of a heart standpoint of thinking, they make it possible for these kids to be successful, but also from a budgetary standpoint, they're making it possible for us to keep more children in district. And so from a financial standpoint, it makes really good sense for us to vote in that paraprofessional contract.
That's a great point, and especially we know that we have we have a partner program right now at Center, which is the NEC program, which is for our preschool intervention, which is it is mandated by law that if you have a child that shows up on a child find who has a significant learning disability or need, we then are responsible for educating that student. And if we didn't have a program like the NEC program that is supported by these paraprofessionals and these professionals, we would have to, unfortunately, it would be sent out of district. Same is true, yeah.
In saying that, how very important it is to pass our professional contract for Warrant Article 2 as well, because special education is an area of high need in terms of teachers, and we already have a shortage. It's a critical area determined by the state.
Yep.
And if our contracts aren't competitive and can't keep pace with those around us, it will be very hard for us to attract professionals to come here
and what
work for us.
Yeah, and what happens in a case like that is we wind up having to contract out, which costs us far more money versus having somebody in-house. And the same can be said for the experiential program at Hampton Academy. Mm-hmm. Again, this is a wonderful program that is led by Bonnie Heath, Teacher of the Year candidate this year, who again allows our children to stay in district, to have meaningful learning, to access our curriculum, and again, to keep our kids in their neighborhood schools. We are responsible to ensuring that they get a free and appropriate education under FAPE, which is a federal law. And again, if we couldn't provide that in district, we would have to send some of those children out of district. So those are positions that are non-negotiable, yes, shall we say. So one way or another, those have to be funded. It certainly makes it easier when budgets pass and when contracts are supported.
We've always had the support of Hampton's community, and that is with people who had families who had children in school, and as well as people who did not have children in school. And we've been so appreciative of all that you've helped us do with our kids of Hampton. So we're asking, please do what you can and stand with us and support us and our schools.
Thank you.
On March 8th. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Our next warrant article is warrant article number 4, which is under the direction of Facilities Manager Keith Lassard. Mariah, could you speak to warrant article number 4?
I would love to speak to warrant article number 4. So warrant article number 4 is $300,000. It's been that for many, 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 many years. We try to maintain that so fiscally it doesn't change what we're asking for every year. We phase a lot of our projects. We phase our roof projects, we phase lighting projects, replacement of sinks we've phased throughout the years. We need maintenance in the buildings. These are major maintenance items that we have to fund. It keeps our kids safe. The buildings keep our kids safe. We need to keep up with them, because if we don't, then you end up having to rebuild, redo, and the bonds are way much higher. So to maintain our buildings, I think this is a great way. For the past 2 warrant articles, we have asked to have a percentage of the funds go to HVAC for center school, and then which would cover half of the project. The other half we are utilizing ESSER 3 grant funds that came with COVID-19. The HVAC needs to be done in our building at Center School. Right now we have filters, air purifiers that are in each classroom. They constantly run 24 hours. Our electric bill at that building has gone up tremendously because they do have to run. To maintain those, they last about 3 years in a normal home. So in a normal home, they're not running as much as they are in the school. We have to replace the filters. We have to maintain those units. So for us to actually put an HVAC system in place at center school is much more attainable, and feasibly responsible for our town. So I definitely think that this warrant article is a great one to have every year, and like I said, we try to maintain it and not get it out of control.
Thank you, Mariah. And we know that facilities manager Keith Lassard and his staff does a tremendous job every day ensuring that our buildings are safe, our buildings are clean, and they are prepared to bring in the staff and the students whether we have a sunny day or a snowy day. So please consider supporting our warrant article number 4, which is related to maintenance. I guess at this time, I just want to make a point to let you know that people who go and work in schools or enter into the field of education do that to make a difference in the lives of our children. There is a real calling, there's a real commitment to our students. Our staff, all of them, whether we're talking about our professional educators, our support staff, our leadership team, our facilities folks, our food service workers, our principals, special ed case managers, all of them, they have demonstrated their dedication and commitment in their daily work in support of our children, Hampton's children. These are the children of our future. They are the future scientists, future doctors, future electricians, plumbers, teachers, leaders. I ask that you show your commitment to them, and please vote on March 8th. Polls are open at 7 a.m. at Winnicott High School, and they close at 8 p.m. If you have any questions about any of our programs or any of our warrant articles, please feel free to reach out to us at the SAU. You can contact us at 926-4560. Thank you very much and have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you at the polls.